Welcome to York Street, Auckland, New Zealand, where I'm here recording a band called the Early Birds, and I'm just going to take you on a brief tour, show you around why this place is so cool. It's one of my favourite studios to record in. There's some great bits of gear, and while I've got the band set up, I thought it would be cool to show you some mic techniques and whatnot. So follow me through and I'll take you on the tour. Alrighty, so this is the studio, a bit darker in here than outside. Have to adjust. So yeah, this is the Neve, the 1974 EMI Neve. There's actually only 7 of these that were made, and this is the only one that's in its original condition. I think most of them have been modified in some way. So it's a pretty special desk. 24 inputs, 16 returns, so it's not the biggest desk, but it sounds amazing, and it's in great condition. It's constantly being sort of looked after, maintenance and everything. So yeah, it's a major asset to the studio really. There's actually quite a few bits of cool gear in here. We've got one of my favourites is the TG limiters here. There's 4 of these in here. Would be my favourite studio compressor, which, as you can see, should always stay on limit and recovery 1, and just adjust the hold, and that's pretty much where it should stay the whole time. What else we've got? We've got over here, if you can go into there, there's this bad boy here, which is a Xena limiter, another TG EMI compressor, and I believe there's only 2 of those actually made, and this is model number 1A. Yeah, pretty cool. So you've got your usual candidates in here. You've got some Blackface 1176s, distressors. Every studio's got to have a set of Drawmer gates, right? Down there. Some other cool things, maybe the compact's pretty cool. Those sort of Led Zepp style drums. And also there's another rack here with a couple of cool bits of gear. We've got the Manly massive passive EQ, really nice EQ, and also the Xena limiter. York Street also does mastering as well with top mastering engineer Chris Winchcombe, and this is part of his gear that he uses for that. And over the other side here we've got some bits and pieces, some SSL stuff, some API pre's. Actually, the guy who's videoing this at the moment, these are actually his bits of gear, a lot of the stuff, so hopefully we can have a chat to him later. Yeah, and a DJR, it's actually a Paultec copy. There's a local guy who makes them. They're quite well known around here, pretty cool bits of gear. And yeah, a couple of Allen Smart SSL compressors. So yeah, it's pretty much the sort of the gear that's in here. It's a nice sized room. We've got some nice monitoring, the Genelecs, which are my favourites, and they've actually got a sub on the back of that as well. I can't remember. Do you know what it is? No? It's good. It's good. You can switch it on and off. Everyone likes bass. And some ATCs for some main monitors, which don't get used a hell of a lot, but there's also other stuff here. There's NS10s and whatnot, and a set of what are your ones, Hook?
Dynaudios?
Dynaudios, which are great as well. Yeah. Alright, so if I just quickly take you into the machine room, which is not that interesting, but if you're a real nerd you might think it's cool. So yeah, they're using Apogees here, which sound really great with the Neve. I love them. Hit those soft limits pretty hard. Got a tape machine, an old Sony here, which doesn't get used a hell of a lot anymore. And there's some older Apogees up there, some 88,000s, which still sound great. And I don't know if you noticed all the tape all around here. A few years back when I started doing a lot of mixing in here, I started keeping all the vibe strips of every mix I did, so it's kind of become my little mix sanctuary remembrance room. Not completely full yet, but maybe one day. Cool. Let's move on out to the main room. Alright, so this is where all the magic happens. I've got to say, this is have to be my favourite drum recording room in the world. It just has an amazing sound. It's a pretty big room, pretty big space. There's, as you can see, there's on the wall, it's all bricks and concrete on the ground, although there's carpet down here at the moment. It's a pretty big space. The drums just sound amazing. Sometimes it can be a little bit too big, hence why I put these baffles up, and I always like to put something over the top as well, just to stop getting too much reverb into the overheads. Because otherwise these overhead mics just end up being room mics. So yeah, if we can kind of close everything down and keep everything that's sort of spotted on the drums nice and tight and solid. I've got all the usual candidates on there, 57s on the snare. I had this one mic'd up on the rim because we were hitting the rim. Yeah, Sennheisers on the toms, and on the kick I've got a D112 inside and a FET 47 on the outside. Sometimes I use the NS10 speaker, which is over there. But actually starting to go off that a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure you've all seen that before, just the NS10 speaker mic'd up in front of a kick. And actually this is a new mic I've been using. It's also one of Hook's, the head engineers. What is that, an R80?
84.
84? Yeah, ribbon mic, AEA, beautiful actually. I really like mono ribbons on drums, and as you can see it's kind of quite close on the drum kit. I like it to still be quite direct, but with a bit of compression you can really squash it up and make it all sound pretty cool. So other room mics, I've got my classic floor technique, which you've probably seen a number of times before. Two 414s on cardioid, facing the floor, compress the shit out of it, and this room sounds amazing. This room sounds amazing with the floor technique. It's kind of where it all started for me in this room, that floor technique. And then I've got a couple of U87s on Omni, just as sort of far AB style, just for that, pick up that sweet York Street sound. Yeah, so that's probably it for the drums. I've got a nice piano here, Playal, which is it's actually quite nice and bright, so it's great for rock and also classical and everything. It works really well. And what else have we got? There's a couple of smaller booths in here. So this is the larger of the small ISO booths. It's kind of an interesting kind of sound. It's a little bit bathroomy, but can be quite cool sometimes. I know that a lot of people actually record drums in here. They even bring the baffles all the way in here and just get it really super dry. So you've got that combination of if you want the big room or if you want something really super tight. As you can see, there's a whole lot of amps in here set up at the moment. We're just tracking for the early birds, so they've got a Vox and a Fender set up. We'll retrack the guitars later with a series of mics and whatnot. But as far as the gear goes, York Street got some pretty cool bits of gear, some old Hammonds and keyboards, and I mean some pretty old stuff. Korg Wave Station. Yeah, and actually this Hammond and Leslie actually really great sound. It's one of my favourite Leslie sounds. You can crank it right up and get it nice and dirty and crunchy. There's a Rhodes over there, and also a really cool Schwander, which God knows what that is, but it's the manager of York Street, Jeremy. It's his old piano that he kind of ripped the face off, and it just sounds so horrible and shitty. It's really cool for that kind of, I don't know, gypsy carnival type thing, I don't know, yeah. And otherwise, yeah, there's a smaller booth in there, which is where we record vocals most of the time. here comes Jeremy right now.
Hey.
Hey.
Mr. Murphy, your coffee's ready. Check this one out. That's a 9.5 out of 10.
Look at that.
York Street's known, famous, indeed, for its coffee.
Exactly. It's another great reason to come to York Street is because the coffee is
fair trade organic beans.
Delicious, delicious. Actually, I think New Zealand in general, I've got to say, if you ever get a barista from New Zealand to make you a coffee, it's the best. Better than Italy. Jeremy's half Italian, and it's New Zealand coffee's better.
Don't tell my uncle.
Alright, thanks Jeremy.
Should have a look at the lounge and stuff.
Yeah, cool, we'll do that. Yeah, so, vocal booth in there, nice and dry and dead. Usually record vocals in there most of the time. Got a 67 set up there. It's a really nice sounding one. Cool. Alright, so that's probably about it for this room. There is a mezzanine up top which not a lot of people go up there, but I've recorded some drums up there before. I had a drum kit set up right up the back and just like a kick and snare mic, and then I had 2 room mics in the room, which is pretty cool. Yeah, but not a lot of people go up there. There's, what's up there?
Oh, the bass isolation cabinet.
Oh yeah, there's a bass isolation cabinet, which is quite handy if you're tracking, you know, a band all together or something. You want to isolate everything. You can chuck the bass up there or whatever you want. Come past a stack of amplifiers. Nice selection here. Box, and I think actually this one here, this gun, this is pretty cool. This is owned by a good friend of mine, Chris Thompson, and I believe it was actually the same actual amp that was used to record AC/DC Black and Black. Whether that's a myth or not, who knows. But yeah, come through to the chill out areas. So here we've got your classic chill out area, TV, Xbox, stereo, couches, good places to drink coffee. Look who we've got here. We've got the York Street barista himself, making a fresh brew. Yes. So this is this is Rich, and the coffee machine, which is all part of the homeware at York Street here. Delicious. Come and get yourself one. And I think that's probably about it. Pinball machine. There's a small edit switch we got there. Check it out. Might as well. If it's boring, I'm sure Mike Banks can fade it out by now. So we just go up here. Don't know if it's too dark in here, but yeah, just got a small computer set up here with some speakers, and it's just a second Pro Tools rig, and there's Logic on there as well. It's always really handy to have something like that at a studio, so if you're running behind, you can, you know, give the assistant some drums to edit or do some samples or whatever it may be. So yeah, no. And just go into the office. This is where Jeremy spends most of his time, booking the clients. And the reason I took it up here is because it's quite a cool little view of downstairs in that main room. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I hope the tour's been okay, not too guerrilla, but we'll see you again sometime soon. Cheers.